Okay, target curves. It's been a while since I've talked about target curves, but today I'd like to talk about combining different target curves together in REW. So yeah, let's get to it. This is a Harman target curve. This is extremely popular, and I can imagine a lot of people know this one. It provides excellent bass, and it does provide very good clarity all the way down, right? I think it's a very good target curve to start with, definitely. And what I mean by that is, over time, when you hear the way your speakers sound, just over time, there might be certain things about it you like, and maybe certain things about it you don't like. So I'm always up for trying different targets and things, right? So I saw a video on YouTube and they were calibrating, Wisdom Audio was calibrating their somebody's home theater, and I saw the targets that they were using. So I contacted them and said, is there any chance you could send me the targets you're using? I'd like to see, you know, what they are, and try and calibrate with them. And I was talking to them for quite a while about it. They have a subwoofer target as well, which I'm not going to put in here because it is basically the same as this target. So you can just import these here. And as you can see, so the Wisdom target here is blue, and it does not have anywhere near as much bass as the Harman target. And I just EQ'd with it, and to me it didn't sound, it sounded detailed and it had nice clarity, but it was way too light on bass to the point where pretty much within a day, you know, I probably watched a movie with it or whatever, but within a day I had to recalibrate. I was like, I can't actually listen to this because it's just too shallow on the bass. Yeah, it's just not my thing. I do not like that sound. But again, I thought I really do like this portion of it. This it's got a roll-off here as well, treble roll-off from around 10K. It's quite, well, I guess it is pretty strict, but it does sound good. And there is a dip here. You can see it better when you normalize volume. So now the volume has actually been normalized at around 1K. You can see that there's actually a dip here, and it lifts back up just ever so slightly. So it's around 4K that there's a dip there. Now, why would there be a dip there? Interestingly enough, Odyssey use mid-range compensation at around 2K, but typically they use that when it's a flat response, and which in my opinion you should never do. I don't want to see a flat response going all the way to 20K, you know, 0 and then a bass rise, which is what you get from, say, the Dirac. Some of the Dirac curves, you know, you get, let's normalize it. You know, you just get, you get the bass rise and then it's just flat. That, again, to me, that doesn't sound good. I don't care if you have a 10 dB bass rise. This doesn't sound good, in my opinion. It wants to drift down. That does give you a better sound. So, I don't advise that. But these targets are getting on for very, very good, near perfection of the type of sound that I like. However, with my old receiver, I guess with any receiver that you play high volume with, and they can't really handle that type of sound, that type of volume, the audio is not distorting, but the telltale signs are there of the receiver is slightly giving out, where you play something loud and the bass sounds as though it's actually slightly decreased, and so is the treble, the down here treble, but this mid-range is kind of kicked up a little bit more, and it sounds kind of hard, almost brittle sounding. However, I upgraded to the Denon A1H, and I could tell instantly that this was entirely smooth at this area. Snare drums from dance music, and some of, like, say, you can say techno drum and bass style of music that I would listen to. The snares just sounded completely smooth, and I thought, wow, you can get that type of sound using the same targets, but improved DACs, improved amplifier section in the receivers, using better parts. All of this, to me, it just sounded much smoother on my ears. You could just tell right away. And I was like, wow, that's really impressive. So it does go to show that there are certain points in volume that you go on receivers, and yes, they're not distorting, but they're kind of giving way. I was talking to some people about this, about how when you increase the volume of doing a sweep on channels, that I was getting volume and bass decrease. This could also be the speaker kind of giving out as well, but I was only going from 65, 75 to 85 dB, 3 different sweeps, and you could tell that the 85 dB sweep was letting go of bass and letting go of treble just slightly. Now, if you think about that, it's then the equivalent, what that would be doing is pushing the mid-range up, right? This is why this target was so good from Wisdom Audio, because you could just say around this crossover area, around this area, they've got this dip. And to me, yes, it's only small. It's about 0.4 dB. We'll just say half a dB. Very, very small. But it was enough to take the edge off of sound around this sensitive mid-range area. And with the roll-off as well, like this, it just provided, to my ears, honestly, a more analog natural sound. Whereas the Harman target is a little bit, I think it can be a little hard sounding. I really do. It will, for the most part, if you've just started calibrating, say with a Harman target, I think you'd be incredibly impressed by it. But the thing is, sometimes you have to listen to things for like a while for your ears to really get a hold of what the sound is. Typically, it takes me a couple of weeks. And once you know what calibration style that you've done, you can kind of tell. Since switching to this target, I have really not looked back. I have never actually calibrated again with a generic Harman target. I've used this target now, but again combined it now with the Harman bass. So now how you would do that is, so you want to merge B to A. So B would be the Harman, yep, and you're merging it with the Wisdom target. Now you can choose where to merge it. I typically merge at 200 Hertz. You could merge though at 1K, because, yeah, I mean you could merge at 1K. I'm not sure if it really matters. I could test a few though, and the reason is because we centralize volume at 1K, and there is slight difference. There is a slight difference here. The 300 Hertz and 200 Hertz here is actually lower on the Harman target versus the other one. And I actually don't like raising this bass section here too much, I don't think, anymore. It can create a boxy sound if you rise in bass too early. So, let's actually see what this sounds like or looks like at 1K. I wasn't going to do it at 1K, but so generate. And what we do is I check blend. I believe what blend does is allow a smoother transition between one target and the other. So it's not so, I was going to say janky, but, you know, it just, I believe it's supposed to smooth this out. So, okay, so generate. Now this emulates essentially, or copies the Harman target, but now also we have the Wisdom Audio dip, this slight dip here, and we have the treble roll off, right? So yeah, you really gain the best of both worlds here. So what do I have on? Okay. Yeah, so again, the bass here is equal. This is all equal. So it's all equal all up until this point. I actually do think that is the best way, because I was typically doing it at 200 hertz. Let me see what the difference is. So 200, generate. Yeah, there is slight bass increase here. Now again, thinking about a center channel, you actually may not want this. I know it's very, very small. What would it be? It's actually 0.3 dB's difference. 0.6 is the Harman, and the Wisdom is 0.9 on both. So it has copied perfectly. And my other one there would be 0.7, so it's again, it's probably blending, but it is less. This can be a little bit of a problem area. If you see my last video on the center channel of boxiness, boominess, and resonance, you might not want to raise bass too early here. Again, very, very small, but anything can trigger resonance in a center channel. Just definitely things to think about. So now thinking about this, it is actually best to blend essentially at around 1K. And as you can see, yeah, we definitely have a dip here, but there is a slight rise pickup at the end, which again, it really does provide a nice natural sound. So another thing you can do is let's delete that one. Remove. Okay, so this is the target curve we just made. This has the Harman bass and the Wisdom Audio smoothness, naturalness. You could even say this type of sound here, and with the roll-off here, is a little bit more vinyl sounding, right? It doesn't sound so clinical. It does have that vinyl sound, and that is instantly why I gravitated to this type of sound. I was like, yep, that's it. And this is why I haven't really looked back. Now you could say to me, okay, I've tried this target, but in the same ways that it improved, I actually want to go a little further, right? So you can, if you go to EQ, let's have a look. At 1K. So what you do is you uncheck everything here and just have predicted showed, right? So then you go to EQ here, select PQ. I would say about 1K, right? This is the Q. This is the frequency, which I believe this dip starts at around, or is the central point at around 4K. That to me is what it looked like. Now, what you can do now is, let's again say you just wanted you wanted to take a little bit more out. So if you can see here, every time I'm pressing this button, the predicted is changing, right? So you could really dip this. Like that's 1 dB. That's actually significant. But you might want to just try the generic one. That is combined, the Harman and the Wisdom target, which is what I've just called it. And to be honest, to me, it took care of all of my kind of hardness issues in the sound. I thought it was the speaker. I really did. Then I actually found out it's probably more than likely actually the receiver. And better electronics give you just a much smoother analog sound today than they used to 6 years ago, you know. Plus, obviously, getting a flagship receiver from Denon, you know, obviously they're using a lot better equipment. I honestly really, though, think a lot of this is due to DACs just being so good nowadays. And the DACs that they're using in the A1H are just incredible. So, and it allows high volume without sounding hard. There's no hardness, even at the type of volumes I listen to. I was watching Gravity the other day, and I'm listening to that at -4 dB, main volume on my receiver. Yeah, it's loud, but there's never any hardness. You could go louder, which is the scary part with that. And yeah, it just constantly sounds smooth. Now you could say, well, do you need to use that target anymore? The thing is, I've actually grown accustomed to that sound, and even at low and high levels, I just like that sound, this sound now, this smoothness. So I guess just to show the difference, let's do half a dB. That to me is probably very aggressive, and it's not something I would probably do. Interesting enough though, it comes down, but this slightly going back up might give more presence as well in treble. What you would do here is generate measurement from predicted. This is the predicted. This is what we've been actually changing here. So click that. And really, again, this is small, very, very small. But now the target has changed. You have took even more out. And again, this is kind of in this mid-range compensation area, which if you're used to Odyssey, you would know a lot about that. And it does make sense, though, that it's in that area, this kind of crossover region area, to gain a smoother sound. Yeah, and I just found this to be really interesting. So yeah, you can combine different target curves, what you like. And really that is what this is, because we do have different tastes, right? You know, somebody can tell me, look, this is the target. This is perfect target for your room. It really is. And that person may not like it, right? We do have tastes in sound. Some of us like lots of treble. Some of us like tons of bass. But I don't know many people that like a lot of mid-range where it drowns out the treble and the bass and makes that sound kind of hard sounding. I don't think I know too many people like that. So this again, why I put this in, and I was like, yeah, this is just a great sound. So that's really enough of that about combining and even editing targets as well. So next, I just want to talk about something different. So these are Storm audio targets, and they have one for the sub, they have one for the fronts essentially, and they have a different target for the surrounds. I'm not going to put the sub in, I just don't think it's worth it. It's almost a copy of this anyway, so it's just not worth it. Okay, so that's the fronts, and this is the surrounds. At first I thought, they're using different targets for the front and the back. When I saw it, I was like, makes sense. Makes sense to me. And the reason I say that is because I have always kind of thought about this idea of the tonality is different going round. You can use timbre match speakers all you want, right? But the fact of the matter is speakers are in different parts of the room, right? And sound does not react the same way in different parts of the room, especially when they're behind you, right? If you hear music in front of you, or somebody talking to you in front, It is not the same when they go behind you. Kind of an example of this is when you move outside of a nightclub, what do you still hear? Well, you still hear bass, but you don't hear treble. So treble gives up a lot earlier than bass does, right? So what I'm trying to say is there, with ears, for example, ears, I'm not saying they are walls or anything like that. I'm just saying that our ears are facing to the side and collecting sound forward, right? So if you have surround speakers that are actually on the side, your target, in my opinion, would be the same as the fronts. My surrounds, though, are behind me, right? I've just got them. I've got them behind me, and I can tell instantly that tonal difference using the same target curve and everything. Why? It's because the way we hear sound is not the same. Excuse me. Forward as back, right? It's just not the same. There is treble roll off as things go behind us. And it's because of the position of our ears. Treble is the first thing to go. Treble is the first thing to start rolling off when you go into another room, when something gets in the way, right? If you block a speaker with a piece of cardboard, right? The treble is the first thing that you really lose that tonality. But the sound, you might still be able to hear it, right? You can hear maybe some mid-range and bass, but that treble is the first thing to go. Once I saw this, I was like, okay, I actually saw this a while ago. I just haven't really got around to, I was just testing different curves just to see what I liked first. But then, yeah, I saw this. I saw that they was doing different target curves, and I was like, that's interesting. So if you look at them with the volume unnormalized, like this, it actually shows that the mid-range bass is higher, the mid-range is higher, and we are slightly louder, I guess up until about 5K, right? But the thing is, you don't listen to speakers in this way. This suggests that the surrounds would actually be louder. When you normalize volume, and what I mean by that is you get everything to say 75 dB, when every speaker is the same, this is what the targets would look like. Right now, the volumes are matched. Now you can really see what's going on. So that's the LCR. So this light, the light blue here, is maybe I'll do a different color here. Let's just go red for the surrounds. Yeah. As you can see here, bass does actually rise slightly earlier, but the main bass is not as deep in the surrounds, right? So the requirement for the surrounds being as demanding essentially as the fronts goes away, which is definitely interesting. And having this warmth from the surrounds as well, or more warmth, I found pretty interesting. So I think it's an interesting idea. But one thing you see is now the volume's actually normalized. The treble roll-off is earlier than the mains. Now, if you've just heard the conversation that I was having just there, this is actually the exact opposite of what you want to do, in my opinion. It's the exact opposite. And because when you're looking at your screen, your projector screen, you're watching something, and you've got all your speakers here, your Atmos speakers, everything, like I have 6 speakers behind me. The surrounds, the back surrounds, and my Atmos speakers. The first thing to go, because of the ears, is treble. So why would I roll it off earlier? I don't actually think this is a good idea. I actually think you want more treble in your system, maybe even more mid-range as well. You want more detail than the target suggests. That's what you really want. And treble, if you turn your ear when you're listening to, say, Atmos music or surround music in general, just turn your head. You hear incredible detail when you turn your head, and then you put your head back, and that detail just goes. Because of your ears are blocking this. And I've done that a few times. I'm like, wow, I'm missing a lot of detail there. This would actually make it worse. But it gave me the idea for using different targets for surrounds and things like that. So what would I do? And this is what I'm about to do tomorrow, is, no. This is my AB. Right. So the Harman curve, in my opinion, is actually very good for every single speaker that is behind you. Why? Because you have more mid-range clarity here. And there's no roll-off. That means the treble will be higher. You can cut your EQs at 16K, 18K. I've been generally cutting them around 18K anyway. But the fact is they go higher. Even at 10K, it's just 0.3 higher. Those minor differences you are going to be able to hear. Maybe up to about half a dB. But you go a little further, you're getting on for half a dB here at 11, 12K already. So providing more clarity to your rear surrounds for treble and for those little precise sounds is more beneficial because of the way our ears hear sound. We'll have to experiment with this, whether having a smoother sound in the rears is worth it, because our ears are doing this already. If we're ultra sensitive to mid-range information in the front of the way we hear things, again, another thing is sounds behind us, you would lose this as well. So I actually think it's going to be good, and I'm going to test it. Probably should have tested it before I made the video, but from everything that I've been doing over the last couple of years of EQ, I do think having different targets for the rear, not in the bass portion, you don't need different targets for the bass portion of this, but having a different target for the treble is really the problem because of the treble roll-off and maybe even mid-range roll-off that you get from sounds behind you. And this to me makes perfect sense. So I'd like to EQ this way with two different target curves. There is one other thing I would love to test as well. It may be overkill, but it's definitely something I'd like to try, and that is EQing the front Atmos and the stereo pair left and right with -1 dB here. Not 1, -0.1 at this 4K area, EQ'd, just pulling this down a hair, right? But the center channel you keep the same. And again, the reason I don't want to do it to the center channel is because I do want to keep more dialogue clarity than the mains. Another thing is you could have one EQ in multi-EQX. Let's just say you used flat. You can use flat for the music EQ, right? And you could just say, look, I'm just going to do that for music. And have that potentially smoother, less brittle sound for music. But maybe movies, you do want more clarity everywhere. So lots of different things you can do here with targets, generic targets. I didn't know you could merge things in REW. I kind of stick with REW what I kind of know, what I know. But I got to the point where I was like, well, I want to use both. So I was going through everything here, of like, hey, what is all of this? What do they all do? And the merge function, and yeah, you can blend as well, is really, really useful for combining these. Same thing though. One sec. Right. So this I think we edited this one. Yeah, we did. So this purple one here, if you want to just export this, export measurement as text at 1000. Yeah, that's it. And I'll I was doing some other test targets. Test EQ with a dip. Yeah, I did that already. I could go over this on. Test EQ with dip, right? Just we can call it that for now. And I'll overwrite that. So you can just export these, and then you can, when you're doing an EQ, you can import this. Let's clear all of this. So you're running test EQ with dip. So what I would do, it would be to just import here. Yes, they do stop at 20K and around 18. For me, that's completely fine. I'm actually not EQing past 20 Hertz in my subwoofer anyway. And I'm not EQing past around 18K at this point either. So now there are ways around this where you can, the one I made had, it was essentially a straight line all the way to the end. But this one actually does just give up here. So, but there are workarounds for that in REW if you really didn't like that. But for me, it's fine. It's where I know at these points I should just stop EQing. So, and what I would do here is lock that. So you're about to like EQ, say, a speaker. I would lock these, and I would just go through all of my different speakers and start EQing, make sure it's aligned. It's just slightly different. And just start measuring, right? Start measuring these speakers and then EQing to this brand new target. And remembering when you get to your surrounds that I would want to now use this target as well. Actually use the Harman target. Because again, it's giving me more detail here. More mid-range detail, higher treble, and that is everything we are missing with our ears being the way they are. So yeah, very interesting. About to start a new calibration with this kind of mentality, you could say. Just again, how we hear sounds behind us versus how we hear sounds in front of us. Also, again, combining different targets. What kind of sounds do you like? Once you hear this Wisdom Audio, this slight minor dip here, this is emphasized because we did put half a dB extra on it. But once you hear this, I think you'd be surprised the difference. Again, it was only 0.3 dB's difference, but it just creates a much smoother sound. So, yeah, really cool. And yeah, I'm going to get ready for a new EQ tomorrow. And the biggest, just to talk about that, the biggest thing I'm going through right now is the axis of the speakers, right? The degrees of angle. I have a laser tape measure and I have a digital angler, so I can get all of my speakers to the exact same degrees and angles that I want. And I've been testing like different angles. I've heard my ELAC unifiers were listened to by Andrew Jones and I guess tested by Andrew Jones at 10 degrees off axis, but from the listening tests I've been doing, I actually feel as though for me, the surround information sounds better and I can localize that sound better when they were I used to use 15 degrees off axis. And I just thought I could localize things much better. I have demoed some EQs where the speakers are facing directly at you, essentially yeah, I guess no axis. Yeah, I mean they're directly at you. Every speaker's directly at me, and I found a problem with that. I couldn't tell where things were coming from. I had no idea where things were coming from. There were sounds that were behind me, but I just couldn't. I don't know if it's like something wrong with me, or certain people's brains may not be able to like pick up where directionality is truly coming from in certain situations, but I just couldn't tell where sounds were coming from. They were all, I guess, hitting me at one point, and I just could not understand where the sound was coming from. And I was like, I can't do this. So I went back to 15 degrees, and I point. What I do is I put my microphone in the position, get the laser tape measure, get the angular, get it the angle perfect on the laser, perfectly on the angle, and I just keep moving the speaker until it lines up exactly with my microphone. Every single speaker, you go around the room, every single speaker, same angle all the time. 15 degrees, you can really pick out where these sounds are coming from. So that's another thing, just with tonality, speakers and things like that. Maybe do a few tests of, are you in that situation where you're like, actually, sometimes I really can't tell where sounds are coming from? Change the angles of the speakers slightly. I like to tone my speakers out by 15 degrees. Atmos 15 degrees, everything out, away. I have heard situations where towing across 15 degrees could be beneficial. The thing is, I actually don't like the way it looks. I don't like the way my speakers look when they're like kind of crossed in like that. I know that's kind of sad, to say, but I really hate the look. I don't know. There's something about it when it's crossed. It just doesn't look good. I know the sound is the most important thing there, but yeah, I don't know. Like 15 degrees crossed in like that. It doesn't. So to me, going out by 15 degrees is where I'm probably going to go back to. I'm probably going to fix all that this afternoon and then get ready for a calibration tomorrow. But yeah. So yeah, right now though, I would use two different EQs, one for everything behind, one for everything in front. And with the way we hear sounds, I really think that is the way to go. And again, we should have a lot more treble and fine detail that you miss on when you're looking forward and not, So yeah. I will link the target curves in the description. I will list them on my Google Drive if you want to download them. I'll list the Harman and I'll list the Wisdom Audio target, and I'll list my target, which is a combination of both, the Harman and the Wisdom. And see what one you like. So, and yeah, REW is great. You can combine these, and combining generic target curves, seeing what you like. You can even EQ them and change these minor things, But these minor things do make big differences in a sound that you're going after. For instance, this roll-off here, you could set your Q to about 1 as well, maybe finer, maybe 2, and just slightly push the treble up. You could even take the Harman target curve and just mirror the dip here, but then continue this and then continue to the treble. There's lots of different things that you potentially even could do. So yeah, that's the video. And yeah, combining target curves, great idea, and something you can definitely do very easily in REW. Export them as text, and yeah, that's it. Hope you enjoyed the video, and have a great day.